What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to episode 4 in the Stabra series. Now, sadly, this is going to be the final episode in this series, which you know, it pains me to say, but it's been great and you guys have loved it so far. If you have missed any episodes up to this point, I'll leave a playlist link in the description top line and also in the pinned comment, so click through that if you're not quite sure. But to give you a brief update about what happened at the end of last episode before we move into this one, OP's mother-in-law, throughout that last episode to be fair, got increasingly crazier and started doing some ridiculous things, not that she hasn't done already. But the main point, I suppose, is that OP's ex's court date happened and it went pretty badly for him and his lawyer, pretty well for OP and her lawyer, which of course is great news. So anyway, without further ado, let's get in to episode 4. Oh, and of course, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel and you have enjoyed this series, click the button. It's free and it means the world. Stabra had a public meltdown. I did not think I'd be back so soon, but I thought you guys would want to hear about this morning. My mum is so annoyed that she almost drove to Stabra's house. This was posted 8 days after the previous post. That is Wednesday, November the 22nd, 2017. My mum decided to do a big Thanksgiving party at my aunt's house and invite everyone to see my son, since we hadn't attended one of the family events in a few years. Stabra hogged holidays. Mum officially transferred from her office site to one closer to my aunt's house so that she can see my son more and help with him. She couldn't come to our house often due to Stabra, so when she got a transfer opportunity, she took it. That's a whole other story I'll have to post one day. Anyway, that was earlier this month, so we planned to have a few of her new work friends come by too. My aunt is still experiencing some hip and back pains, so she and mum stayed home and sent me to the store to grab some things this morning since we were super unprepared for that many guests. Mum offered to keep my son, but he begged to go with me to just look. I.e., me buy more ornaments and musical stuff because he's a Christmas fiend at the Christmas decorations, so I brought him along. We got all of our items and headed down the Christmas aisle. My son was riding in the grocery area of the car because the store was packed with people and I didn't feel great about letting him walk in the literal shoulder-to-shoulder crowds. He picked an ornament near the top of the shelf, so I looked for someone to get it down. I'm too short for that. I had my back turned for less than 2 minutes when I heard my son shriek, "Stabra!" and start trying to climb out of the cart. I grabbed him and started to ditch the car and walk away, but she'd already noticed us and came running up as fast as her ham-shaped legs could take her. Ham-shaped legs. Because I'm extra female doggy right now, let me paint a picture of Stabra before we continue. Imagine a discarded tampon and you're pretty close. Wow. She was wearing a red, flowy, long dress with a handkerchief hemline and white granny sandals with a long, silver, sparkly cardigan that almost touched the floor. Her hair is white blonde and cut like a mushroom cap around her face. She is short and plump, tomato-esque in that moment, if you will. A tampon tomato. That is brutal, but I have a very clear picture in my mind now, thank you. So she comes running up and holds her arms out to my son, who, being a now 4-year-old, reaches back. I pulled him back and told her to get away from us. She tried to reach around me to talk to my son, going on about her big Thanksgiving tomorrow with turkey presents. She bought my son presents for frickin' Thanksgiving and said the turkey from dinner left them before being cooked. My son asked if we could go and I said no, to which he whined. I repeated that Stabra needed to leave us alone now and that I was grabbing my car and going. Stabra threw the things in her arms into my cart and squared up like she was going to swing at me. I yanked my cart back and turned to leave, and this freaking lunatic bellows, "You stupid female dog!" The entire area went silent and I froze in my tracks because holy heck. She kept screaming, yelling that I couldn't take my son from the only family he's ever known and that I ruined all holidays for him forever. I stood there like an idiot, deer in headlights through all of it. Everyone was staring and I had no clue what to frickin' do. Stabra screamed at my son that she was sorry he was caught in, quote, "mummy's games." He was crying already, so I yanked him away from the area and started walking away, shaking like a leaf, and she still screamed after us, "My grandson, my grandson, my grandson, come here, sweetie, Nana's sorry. Little one, look, little one," trying to get his attention, but his face was buried in my neck. A manager came out and asked what was going on. I explained, and he made Stabra leave the store, then personally checked us out and escorted us to the car. Stabra was sitting in the lot and made an obvious effort to record us or take photos with her phone. When I was leaving, the manager had walked over to her car, as I had pointed her out, and was chewing her out. She was screeching and flapping her hands around everywhere like a jerk. I cried when I got home, and it spooked my son pretty badly because now he's clinging to my side. He's sleeping on my legs as I type this, and every time I try to get up, he wakes up and sobs, so I'm stuck here for a while. We're going to try to go see his doctor as soon as the long holiday is over, and I'm hoping this doesn't mess up any progress we've made. As for my ex, he officially changed his plea to guilty. We're waiting to see what that means because my lawyer said it could go several different ways, but that he'll likely get a lesser sentence, but we can start divorce proceedings sooner this way. And just like that, this woman gets even crazier than before. Every single post, it just gets worse. When is she going to stop? Again, I've just got to mention, tampon tomato. That image is burning in my mind. As soon as I close my eyes, I just see it, and it's terrifying. It's a good thing that your ex has changed his plea to guilty, though, because yes, there's a chance that his sentence will now be lessened, but it means that he's guaranteed going to go to jail. Well, he's going to be charged and yeah, that the sentence will be upheld, I suppose. So that is a good thing. And that is another chapter, I suppose, that you can kind of move on from whenever it happens. We'll see when it does. And as you said as well, you can start divorce proceedings and move on with that. The main point at this point has to be getting Stabra out of your life and just trying to move forward. So these are good steps in that process, I think. All right, now for our next post. Stabra texted my sister. This woman just does not stop, does she? She's just on an absolute mission to ruin people's lives and I suppose get as much contact with her grandson as she can. This was posted 2 days after the previous post. She apologized for the outburst at the store and said that she was just so upset seeing her grandson reach for her and me pulling him away that she lost her cool. She suggested I shop at an alternative store to avoid such a situation again. Yeah, you can't shop her anymore because I might be here and try to steal your son. Great. She also said that she's concerned about me possibly leaving state with my son and requested my sister send her a photo every week of my son with a date stamp. What, like he's been kidnapped and you're trying to get him for ransom or something? Or she'd be sending for an Amber Alert for kidnapping before custody was sorted. Not how that works, but okay. She said her lawyer requested it from my lawyer too. My lawyer said that he did receive an email from her lawyer and is following up to check if it's actually from the lawyer. If not, he will try to convince the other lawyer to report it and will suggest that I file for harassment charges. She went on to say she's just so concerned about my mental health because I'm dealing with a lot and that she herself feels crazy sometimes. Yeah, you don't say. I'm shaking. She could have dropped it after screaming at me in a crowded store, but she kept going. If it is fake, I'll be calling the police. I may try even if it isn't. My lawyer doesn't think it'll go anywhere, but it may give us documentation that it happens. Also in edits, while writing this, my lawyer called and said that the other lawyer did not send the email and doesn't have a client under that name. He believes the lawyer dropped Stabra after the stuff she pulled a bit ago. The police asked that I come to the station to file a report. My sister is emailing me screenshots and trying to get out of work to drive down. I'll update after going to the police station. Also, the whole text had a Thanksgiving theme. My sister told me she blocked her, but actually she didn't, and she's been screenshotting texts as they come in. There have been 5 minor "hello, how is my grandson" texts before this that she didn't mention to me. She now knows to tell me about this. Okay, and let's get straight into an update on that post. So, big news first. We have been granted what is essentially a temporary emergency restraining order until we go to court in a few days. That is great news and that had to happen. They are really rushing us through at this point because of the events at the police station and immediately after. Also, sorry for not updating sooner. I know I promised to post right after the meeting, but I needed some time to take everything in. My mother and I waited at the police station for over an hour and a half before we got to talk to someone, because our case was not a priority amid some other things that were happening. Justifiable. Lots of crazy stuff was going down according to local news sites during that time frame. We went back and were taken to the chief of police's office, and he was not exactly happy to see us. I showed him the messages and informed him that we had sent a cease and desist that she was choosing to ignore. I showed him documentation and explained that she was impersonating a lawyer to harass us, which in my state is a crime. He waved us off, dismissing it as a civil matter until I said that. So thank you to whoever pointed out that it is in fact illegal to impersonate a bar registered person. I've got another question though. What happened? Oh, she got bailed out, didn't she? With the DUI charge. But surely that's going to go to court at some point as well, no? I mean, she's got a lot of stuff hanging over her head right now. Anyway, the chief of police looked through our literal stack of papers showing harassment and said he'd be sending a car out to tell her to not contact me again, and that doing so would be considered harassment, which is a punishable offence. He said he wouldn't arrest her for harassing me right then, but would be keeping copies of the information on the falsified lawyer letters in case the actual lawyer comes forward, and that I was welcome to go file for a restraining order, but he didn't believe that I'd get one. He took down my information and sent me on my way, assuring me that one more contact from her would have consequences. The details here are blurry. I got them secondhand from a few angry relatives of Stabra's who messaged me after the fact to tell me what a terrible person I am. The cops visited Stabra's house later in the evening because of the crazy stuff happening. She claimed, at first, to have no knowledge of the text to my sister and showed her phone, from which she'd simply deleted them. She'd also conveniently been with her sister all day, who said she could not have possibly sent or deleted any text due to her being there. Yeah, that's how that works. The officer informed them he had evidence otherwise, but Stabra stuck to her guns. The officer told her to cut the trash and left. Some time later, an intoxicated Stabra began making threats against her own life. She said she would unalive herself if she didn't know that her grandson was safe before bedtime and that her entire life had fallen apart, so there was no point in trying to survive anymore without her son, my stepfather-in-law, and her grandson around. Her sister, who was also intoxicated, stayed there all night, i.e. filled Stabra's head with more stuff because she's even worse, to make sure Stabra was okay. Lol, not what she's ever done before. She hypes up people before confrontations for fun. After midnight, Stabra called what she believed to be my mother's phone number and got no answer. The number was actually misdialed, but our apparent refusal to answer a call we never received from somebody we have legally pursued no contact with sent her over the edge. She locked herself in a bathroom and informed her sister she was going to unalive herself. Now, she's done this before. Usually the person outside will bang on the door and plead with her, coaxing her out and making her feel better. I've done this, my ex has done this, my own freaking mum, who doesn't even like her, has done this. Stabra's sister, though, did not. She called 911. I don't know what happened after that, but Stabra's been put on a 24-hour hold with the potential for a longer stay. She ended up being released to the care of the absent until now stepfather-in-law, with instructions to stay away from us. I can't go into more details at this time, but we were told to file for a restraining order first thing Monday morning, and we did. I've been typing since we left. As of right now, we have a sort of emergency protection against her, and it will likely become an order covering myself and my little one for 1 year, at which point it will be reapproved or denied. My lawyer believes we have a good case for reapproval because she is proving her instability. Stabra is not allowed near us, and if she breaches this order, she will be arrested. We requested the tapes from the grocery store, by the way, but were informed they weren't available. My lawyer is pressing as to why, as it would be a great help in our overall plan. If my ex gets any visitation, he may not bring our son near Stabra at all due to her explosive temper. We're looking to make my son's order hopefully extend until he's 18 because after the details I've learned this weekend, I fully believe she would kidnap my child. She genuinely believes I'm evil incarnate sent to destroy her family. I'll explain it all once the court case is over, if I'm allowed. For now, I'll just be sharing old Stabra stories though. Well, OP immediately goes against this in her next post, a holiday Stabra update. We've jumped ahead here by about a month. This was posted on December 29th, 2017. First off, happy holidays. My son and I had a great Christmas with only a couple of hiccups. My ex was released from jail. More or less, he got time served with mandatory counselling, purposely leaving out anything identifiable here, and I won't be answering questions about the court day. He didn't reach out on Christmas at all, and we did get word that he is still attempting to give up his rights to my son. I've got no clue where he's staying, and I don't care. The divorce is moving along from here on. Stabra ended up getting herself arrested on Tuesday. We got our restraining order pushed through against her based on her own actions a month ago. We also found out that she had essentially threatened my life and my mother's while having her meltdown directly to police officers. Tuesday, the day after Christmas, my mum and I decided to run to the mall to make a couple of exchanges. We didn't see anyone there at all that we knew, just popped in and out while my son stayed home with my sister. When we got home, my sister and my son had gone to lunch. On the porch were several gift boxes. They were all blank tagged, but listed for my son by name in a handwriting I did not recognize. I opened them because I'm paranoid, and inside one was a note in the same handwriting detailing how much the gifter loves my son and how sweet and precious he is, and that if he ever needs anything, he knows where to go. It was signed from Stabra, but not in her handwriting. I called the police and immediately checked the cameras we installed after the last blow-up. Stabra's sister was clearly visible placing the boxes. The police confronted her and she admitted to doing it for her sister because the restraining order prevented her from giving the gifts, but not having them delivered. The officers explained that whatever Stabra had told her was BS and that she was acting illegally. Stabra first played dumb, then eventually admitted to having the gifts delivered, breaking down in tears and begging to speak to me. I refused, she was arrested, and then almost immediately bailed out, so that is where we're at. Absolutely insane. Let's get in now to the final post of this entire saga, I'm sorry to say, before I give my overall thoughts on everything that's happened. This one comes in 2018, January the 22nd, so about 3 to 4 weeks after the previous. You guys were right. Stabra was following me. She ended up getting herself arrested again and spent 5 nights in jail before being released. She's apparently been doing it on and off since the breakup, just keeping tabs. The divorce is moving along. My ex has agreed to all of my terms, so it's just a matter of going to court and getting it all settled. He disclosed that he'd been cheating on me for quite some time with a work friend and that he wishes my blessing to be with her. Oh my goodness. I just agreed because I'm over it. It did sting, but it's over and done. He also still does not want to see his son. So he's been cheating for a while and doesn't care about his own kid. What a great man. After my ex said he was moving in with his girlfriend, I actually went on a date myself. A longtime friend invited me to dinner and drinks, and after some pressure from my mum, I went. After dinner, we walked to a corner bar and had a couple of drinks. Then he walked me back to the parking garage and to my car. When we got there, he kissed me on the cheek and said goodnight, and we agreed to go out again later that week or grab lunch. After he left the level, I started to back out and I saw Stabra running at my car, red-faced. What the heck? That is terrifying. That's actually that's genuinely sent shivers down my spine. That you're having like a nice night out, you're thinking, okay, look, my ex has moved on, I've got to, start living my life a little bit, I'm going to go on this date, oh, it's really nice. And then out of nowhere, late at night, you see your mental mother-in-law, red-faced, running at your car. What on earth? She started hammering on my passenger window and screaming. I called the cops and she didn't leave, just kept screaming about how she's got me now and started kicking my door. That is terrifying. The cops rolled up and she started shrieking about how adultery is illegal in our area and demanded they arrest me. Instead, she got arrested. She consented to a search of her car because she smelled of alcohol, in which they found a notepad with notes listing what they believed to be my work hours and an outline of my son's school schedule, recess, lunch, whatever, basically whenever he's outside during the day. Stabra basically openly admitted that she planned to snatch my son while she was screaming at me, saying I'm a bad mother and that she's going to make sure he's growing up right. We're pushing for her to be held for psychiatric help because this level of crazy is out of character even for her. I reached out to my ex about her actions and he just responded, keep me out of it. Oh my word. Other than that, it's quiet. That's like a ridiculous sentence. Other than the fact that my mother-in-law almost attacked me late at night when I was in my car and has said that she's going to try and... it's just a ridiculous thing to say. Try and kidnap my own son. It's been quiet. Great. I'm freaking paranoid now and scared, and I've got no clue where she is or what she's doing. My son's been pulled from school. My aunt is working to get everything set to homeschool him. It's such a trash show, and any advice is really freaking welcome. And guys, I'm actually gutted to say that right there is the last post. I can't quite believe that it ends like that, and I'm actually very worried that it does. I'm just checking right now to make sure that that is the case. But yeah, that's it. That was 8 years ago, and that is the last thing we heard from this user, at least on this account. So I have no idea what happened after that. She's not posted anything on this account, at least to this day. That's scary, especially like after what we've just seen and heard. Pretty tough to end it on that, but I mean, like, there's nothing I can do. That's all we've got. But yeah, that is really scary. I hope that OP is all right. As you can tell, I'm a little bit lost for words. I said that I wanted this to end on a positive note. I'm not expecting miracles here. It's going to be it was going to be tough, but I didn't want it to end like this, where I'm now left thinking, is OP actually safe? Yeah, look, it's been an adventure, not the way I wanted this to end, but yeah, I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed this story. I don't know. All I can say is that it's just like a shocking ending and horrible stuff. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Catch you on the next.